Next up, we have Thomas Brush. Following a 25-year career in nonprofit organizations, Tom Brush founded Advancement Designs, Inc. to help nonprofit professionals and organizations who are overwhelmed by expectations and responsibilities, burned out by fundraising events, and struggling to design a fundraising plan to provide sustainability. A lot of nonprofits in the audience, I think. Through his coaching and consulting, he helps them find clarity, direction, and raise more resources for their organization. In addition to his work with nonprofits, Tom enjoys working out at Orange Theory Fitness and officiating girls and women's lacrosse. Welcome, Thomas, as he enlightens us on the 3 pillars of sustained achievement. Welcome. Did you want the handheld? Or? All right.
Great. You'll let me know when you're going to start?
Let me know. You ready?
You can start. It was June 1986, the day of my high school graduation. And as I was getting ready to leave the house, my parents asked me a question. They said, "Have you prepared your remarks?" I said, "You see, I was the class president, and so it was my job to provide remarks on behalf of the class at graduation." And I knew that when they asked that question that my parents were also going to offer some advice. They love to do that, and this was great. They said, as you think about public speaking, you want to make sure you focus on 3 key items. First, because you can likely remember 3 things. Second, the audience has a better chance to remember what you're talking about. And third, you can get your remarks done in a timely manner, and in this case, get off the stage because everybody else wanted to see their kids get their diploma. So I realized what they gave me that day was a layout and a plan for how I could speak in public. But I also received my diploma, which was important. But the other thing I started to realize was that we can't always do things by ourselves. And many times the way we look at it, we may need to change. And ultimately, we always need a plan. Because what I've found is that people can have success, but that's different than sustained achievement. And success can happen because we work long, or we work hard, or maybe we just get lucky. But if we want to have sustained achievement, we need a different plan. We need a strategy that's going to help us get there. And as I've looked back over my life, I've found some examples of how that has worked. And the first one would come in April of 2017. I was serving as a chaperone on my son's trip to Disney, and at that time I was 244 pounds, I was overweight, out of shape, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and I knew I was in a bad place. And so I knew when I got home I had to make a change. So I went out when I got home and I found a gym. I had a coach that was going to help me, mentor me, that my wife was also working at, so I had an accountability partner. And the people at the gym were going to be supportive when I needed and was struggling, but also celebrating when things went well. The coach at the gym also made a comment to me about food. She said that you don't put low-tech gas into a high-performing sports car. So why do you put junk food in your body if you want it to be performing? I said that made a lot of sense to me. So when I took the people that were involved in the organization, the new perspective that I had, I was able to put together a plan that would make it work. I was going to drink more water, exercise more, eat healthier, and get more sleep. And that was going to help me take me from where I was to where I am. And in April of 2019, I was on the exact same trip. And at that point, I had lost 75 pounds. I had much more focus and clarity, way more energy. I went from a slow walker to a runner at the gym and was in a much different place. But I've also looked at how does that interact with the nonprofit organizations I work with. They have goals, they have missions that they're trying to accomplish. And they're significant for them, and it makes a difference to their constituents. And so I asked them to think about these things. Who are the partners? Who are the people who donate to the organization? Who are the people who volunteer, and why do volunteers then become board members? Who are the people who are funding them? And ultimately, what are the programs that we need to run to be impactful on them? Then we need to understand why. Why do they do that? Why do they donate? Why do they volunteer? What are the programs we need to run to make sure that we're having an impact on them? Because that's ultimately what we're trying to do. And then when you take those partners and understand them, a new perspective, you can put together a plan that allows you to go step by step by step from where you are to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. So my question for you here tonight is, what are the challenges that you are facing? What are the hurdles that are in front of you? What are the obstacles you're trying to overcome? Maybe it's how are you going to reach your 2019 goals by December 31st? Well, I'm going to offer this suggestion. Pull out a piece of paper and identify Who are the partners that are going to help make a difference? Do you need someone to train you, someone to mentor you? Do you need a group of people there to be supportive when you're struggling and cheer for you when you're having success? But you also need to think about what is the perspective that you're bringing. Because a lot of times we will look at things and not really be able to see through the forest for the trees. We understand that what we're doing is not really what we know we should be doing. And we need to look at that a little bit differently. Maybe we need to pivot, maybe we need to turn 360 degrees. And when you take those partners and that perspective, you will be able to establish your plan that's going to help make it be a success and move you to where you want to be. Now, as I look back on that day in June in 1986, and I think about what did my parents really provide me, and what they really provided me was a plan, that I needed to have partners that are going to help drive my success, that the perspective I had was going to shape the clarity and the impact I was able to make, and that a distinct plan was going to define my actions. And if I could do those three things, I would have a sustained achievement. Thank you.